Hello and welcome to Crossout, where games get what they deserve. This time it's gonna be an old game. No, a really old game. It's an ancient legend about an evil emperor that locked up a young woman in a cell in his castle, and a young man that decided to infiltrate the castle and rescue the love of his life. You are that young man. Now seriously, the game was made in 1986, and the game is actually still fun. And it was pretty revolutionary because I'm pretty sure that this was the first game to feature cutscenes as cutscenes. Gameplay is pretty simple. You walk to the castle and beat anybody that stands in your way. The controls are simple. You move with the arrow keys and you use Q for high kick, A for medium kick and Z for low kick. W, S and X are the same but for punches. Also, space is used to enter and exit battle stance. The kick is more an offensive move, while the punch is more of a defensive because the kick doesn't contact when the enemy is too close, and the punch knocks him back for a bit. Both graphics and sound are unusual for the time, because the sound comes from the speakers and the graphics are CGA, but both are still pretty nice. On the bad side, the game isn't really complex and it's quite repetitive. Also, you only have one life to pass the game. The repetitiveness isn't really noticeable, and there is a really nice difficulty curve, so it's pretty interesting and challenging all the time.
This is the Ganter showcase for the game Karateka. You are that pinkish person with white hair fighting against the bluish persons with white hair to infiltrate their castle and rescue the love of your life. The game interface is pretty simple. It's 2D movement, and most battle tactics are about timing and range. The triangle life bars you might recognize from Prince of Persia games. And yes, to all the fanboys, there was a Prince of Persia before Sands of Time. Now, when you're in battle stance, you move slowly but safely, because when you run, which is the only way to move out of battle stance, if you get hit once, you're out of the game. And you have only one life, so that's not something you'd like to do. This is one of the areas when the enemies keep respawning until you reach the next gate, so advancing is really important here. You can be passive and let the enemies advance to you and just beat them, but being more offensive makes the game move quicker and makes it a little bit easier. As you can see, when you're really close, you should punch, which sends the enemy back a few steps, and then you can land a few kicks on him. I'm surprised that all the kicks do the same amount of damage, because I think a kick to the head will cause more damage than a kick to the foot, but I guess it is because the game is old, so they didn't think too deep. But on the other hand, it's not too hard to code that a high kick does more damage than a low kick. But I guess it did, so it won't be abusable by players. Some of the enemies look kinda odd because some have hair or head ornaments or whatever that is that really resemble horns and stuff. So it's kinda weird. The enemies at the beginning are amazingly easy and quite dumb, but the more you advance, the harder they become, and soon you'll have really close matches and hard fights. Also, every time your character wins, he does that weird stance when he raises his elbow. I guess it's a celebration of some sort, but really it's kinda slows you down after you do it a lot of times. Also interesting, the mountain seems to be following you no matter where you go. Like, it moves along with you, so you won't see the scenery changing. Also, the graphics are CG, which is not sprite based, but you have to admit it doesn't hurt the eyes and it doesn't get stuck too much. It's pretty sleek. Now, you have to defeat all enemies at the stage to advance to the next one. Like, you can't have an enemy and run away from him. You have to beat them all that come out to you. Also, there are going to be a lot of traps awaiting for you inside the castle, and there are going to be animals attacking you which you need to kick before they hit you and run away. It's usually better to just run through levels, and here's the princess waiting for you, by the way, but sometimes there is an enemy waiting right behind the door and he can just kick you out of the game. But eventually you learn the places that the enemies are located in, so you'll know where to run or when to just walk through the door. You'll learn to know how many enemies are going to come into you at any time, so the game has some stuff to learn. But all in all, if you like beat 'em ups that are kinda slow and take a bit of strategy, you should get this game, and now it's abandonware, so you don't really have to spend money on it.
Today, and this is Crossout, bringing games that you missed to the spotlight.